Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome on in. It is Division 2, Round 7 of Season 7. There we go, got there eventually. Of Silly Seasons Racing League, Formula 1 25. And it is obviously tonight, Imola in Italy. We had Division 1 last night, and, well, that was certainly a race for the twist in that championship. Will we see something similar tonight? Obviously, Pleasant Slate going into tonight, leading by 25 points, but Energetic grabbing the win last week, so maybe there is still a chance. Let's go through your full standings as they are right now. 25 points difference now between Pleasant Slate and Quincy, with Energetic behind there. 10 points to Quincy, but 35 points to Snake. Maybe, just maybe, like I said, there's still a chance. Moksha and Race Chaser in their own little battle for 5th place, or 4th place, I should say. Maybe if Energetic or Quincy have a bad round, they could bring themselves into higher positions, but they would also need to benefit. Then it's Salvi, Trugster, ADS, Toby, and Kavachka rounding out your top 10, followed by Tabran, Skid Solo, Tarkangino, Quara, and Soribo rounding out your top 15, and then it's Red Dog, Sergeant Devsey, Falco Warrior, and Bruiser rounding out your full-time drivers. In the reserves, it is a 2-point difference between David and Rowley, with Vincenzo, fellow son Dembliss, and Eugene rounding out your reserves that have taken part so far. And how does that look for the constructors? Well, it's a very close fight in the constructors. I will give you that for free. We have the top 3 separated by 13 points, with Williams looking like they could also potentially catch up. They have 37 points, which is nothing in comparison to the constructors championship. But then Red Bull round out 5th place and are in close proximity with Racing Bulls and Haas, followed by Alpine, McLaren, and your Kick Saubers, going for, trying to round out, rounding out your top 10 as of right now. And then, of course, just before we do anything, we will, of course, move on to what happened last time here in Imola, where we transition into what happened. So Herman was the winner here. Obviously, that wasn't the case last night. Poor qualifying from him, which really screwed his race up, and it was Daryl that took 2nd, with David in 3rd. Then 4th was Pleasant Slate, with 5th being Moksha. Herman taking drive of the day with the Barca slap and pole going to Andy Andre, who, of course, took the win here last night as well. But as we go into your race feed now, we should be starting a wet qualifying, but we also have somebody else to introduce. F1 25, what was it? Co-op team specialists, breaking point specialists, or something like that. And, of course, World of Tanks. My team specialist, thank you. And, of course, World of Tanks specialist, a fantastic representative for Germany, and an all-round great person. It's Herman the German, everybody, in the co-coms tonight. Hello there.
We are here and we are back here with Imola. Good evening to everyone out there, and join us on this beautiful and very classic racetrack as we had for round 7 of this season 7 for SSRL, as we have now another inter-qualifying, as there already is stricken Red Bull that was Truckster going out of the pit lane with way too much respin and already damaging the front wing. Early shenanigans here happening for him, so you need to repair that wing as soon as possible. And yeah, we are looking forward to see what this division has in store for us for tonight, as we have seen a non-Snake or Quincy podium last time out in Brazil. We want to give the guys a quick summary of what happened in a very chaotic and very interesting Brazilian Grand Prix, Dave.
Well, I definitely haven't been rushing my dinner or anything like that, so I'm definitely not just trying to find my equilibrium, but I will certainly do my best. But, just to give you an idea, well, the qualifying was Snake. It actually kind of looked like business as usual. Snake took pole position, Quincy got 4th place, just a couple of cars between them, so it was business as usual. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the race, we had Snake outside the podium, Quincy finished 7th place. It was absolute madness, and, not really much more to say about that. And I didn't even have to reverse the grid. That's how chaotic it was. But a lot happens in my week, unfortunately, so I can't give you a representative breakdown of how that race went, but I promise you it was chaotic, to say the least. And well, with also the main headline coming out of last week, Energetic took that win from 15th place. So, Energetic has given himself a foot in the door, maybe a toe, but that momentum needs to continue. There are 6 races to go. in the season. So there is time for things to turn around. But with the consistency and the pace Snake has shown from week to week, and just to give you an idea, out of the 6 rounds we've had, he has had pole in 5 of them. And I don't see that stopping tonight, in all honesty. We do currently see Quincy finish off his flying lap as he goes through Variante Alta, and he'll be down to the Rivazzas in just a couple of moments' time. We'll stay with the Ferrari driver as he finishes his lap, and we'll see what the benchmark is set to be. Rivazza 1 is coming here right now, then it'll be Rivazza 2 in a few moments' time. Short burst on the throttle, get that car turned in, don't understeer too far off. You can invalidate your time through that final corner, and all of a sudden your entire momentum is thrown off, but that is a 1:29.592. Now, Herman, I did want to talk to you briefly about your qualifying last night. It wasn't exactly the best thing from you. You went out on inters for the entire 8 laps, and I just want to ask, what was kind of the thinking there, as we're seeing Tabran take an interesting line through the Variante Alta there?
Yeah, that was always going to be the plan, but the main difference for me yesterday is that was my wheelbase wasn't working 20 minutes before the race, so I had to swap to my old Logitech G923 and had to do the best out of what I had of time. So these laps in the Inter were my only laps I could do prior before the race starts. So yeah, I finished 4th. I don't know how I did that, in all honesty. I just kept it on the road away from track limits, and it somehow damage limited what is lost to rush. So there was nothing more in there. I think it was like 2.5 seconds of my personal best I did in a quali practice earlier. So yeah, I was just trying to get as many laps in as I could, although the conditions for the race were dry. So yeah, there's basically the whole story there for you. As we also welcome someone new. Matt the Tank is running the Haas today. Is currently the last of the drivers who has posted a lap time, and will be partnering Salvi for tonight. As we also have Babish, who I'm surprised is currently allowed to qualify, since he's also under the Division 1 rule. Maybe an error on his side, let's see. And obviously Fallison, one of the greatest guys of this league in the wet, is with us here as well for tonight, currently running the Williams and partnering Moksha, who he took the Constructors Crown with in Season 5. So a lot of interesting people for this very beautiful track, and hope to see another classic just we did last time out in Brazil.
At the moment, Pleasant Stake is at the top of the timing boards by, a second and a half, is it? Yes, it is a second and a half, just under, really, and that just shows you the pace difference he's had all season. Quincy is yet to match that, but is finally on some sort of representative, 1.3 seconds through Sector 1, but there are still... Oh, pardon me. 5 drivers needing to set a time. One of them just set a time now. Fellow son up into the 1:26s already. Not too far off Pleasant Stake there. So maybe finally some competition, as Princey going left and right on your screen there, trying to do some sort of tyre warm-up, although that's not really advised on these inters. They are only used to move moisture off of the track surface, and so putting heat into them, not usually a great idea. They are designed to work in cooler temperatures, but here we go again, down to Rivazza 1 and 2, and we'll see what this lap time is going to be. It was 1.3 seconds up on his PB in Sector 1, as he's really losing the rear end through Rivazza 2, and now that's a 1:27.0, but still over a second off to Pleasant Stake in pole. But we will now see Babish is invalidating the lap. Trugster is running as well, but he's full time as he nearly loses the rear end through the Variante Alta as well. Let's see, this will be Trugster's first time on the board. Of course, he was disqualified from the division from the race last week in Division 1 due to not setting his lap in that 3-session format within the first 5 minutes. So of course that meant you had to do your hot lap and then your out lap, but unfortunately he didn't get it done within the time allocated, and that's straight to pole position, Herman.
Yeah, very nice lap there from Truckster after he had to pit for repairs. And I have to say, Rowley early on also in 3rd position, just splitting Pleasant Snake and Fellison, who have been under a 10th away as well. So early good laps coming in from the guys. I think they're still a bit far off as of right now, with 9.5 minutes from the probably session best, somewhere around what we've seen yesterday. So I can imagine Pleasant Snake gunning for a better time than the Division 1 guys did yesterday for pole. So there's a lot of track evolution still to come, and obviously if you're let's say, currently in the top 6 positions. You don't have to be there at the end. Especially with that Inter, you can see already with trucks they down into Aqua Minerali. There's like this line forming that obviously is perfect for these Inters, as they usually just in between that condition of the track is drying, and there's some light rain still coming from the heavens. So currently still a lot of lap time to be found. I think over a second is still in this for sure, and drivers will be posting that. Most of them actually, especially top 11, have stayed out to go for another lap. Currently Salvi into the pit lane, Snake as well, Toby inside of their top 10 as well. And yeah, we're still waiting for some times, including T-Brand, Bevish, and Schizo as well as Kuan. And we are, I think about to see more improvements coming, especially from the guys who are currently around the 27, 28 mark. There's still a lot of time in there. Toby over the line, 27.0 for him, 1.3 seconds found, top 9, as Moksha takes provisional pole position away from Truckstar by roughly a tenth, and is currently our leader inside of this 18-minute qualifying session.
Moksha getting up to 5th last week in quali, but then 3rd place in the race, and there we go. So not a bad result here. Can he keep that momentum up? Currently at the top of the timing boards, but of course we're still early in this qualifying session despite passing the halfway point. 7.5 minutes to go. Anything can still happen, as Rolly is the first driver to break into the 124s. We were watching him throughout his lap, but now laps to come from Skid Solo and Quan racing with us last night. Back in the field, he got 13th place there, which of course gave him a couple of points. 3 points for his team, but otherwise it wasn't anything to write home about in terms of a performance against anyone else. Vincenzo retiring from the race last night, which gave him that extra position. But now, as he goes wide again, and he did that in Ravazza last night there, so Quan still struggling to get to grips with things. There's now Truckster going to the top of the boards. There, he is 124.2, second driver to break into that time. Skid Solo very wide, though, through the Varianti Alto, completely going deep into the first part of the chicane, gathering it up for the second part, but has lost a lot of momentum. I don't expect this to be a representative time here. Let's see what he can do. Final couple of corners now. Ravazza's 1 and 2. Thought he was missing an end plate there, but of course the black colour of the wing just disguises it into the tyre. It camouflages itself as we now go to the line, and that is a 1:28.314 from Skid Solo. So not the slowest time at all, but really does need to improve on that, as Tabran now will be the next across the line, but he's just going through Trigado now into Tamburello, Herman.
Yeah, Fellerson also improved on that time. He's currently 3 tenths, just over 3 tenths behind. Was also getting a slipstream from Schizola there, so the guy you were just following. And Pleasant Snake is about to be setting another lap time, or he's going for that next stint. So yeah, I'm currently watching that to see what lap times come through from his side inside of these 3 sectors, as the main overtaking opportunity into turn 2 that is officially is the first heavy braking zone of this track. Most of these overtakes, if any, will be happening here, because if you lose that DRS train, if it's a dry race, you're going to be in some serious trouble. And Pleasant Snake is currently attacking the Villeneuve chicane, as it's the second chicane on this racetrack, and has posted half a second improvement on his current flying lap as we run up the hill after Tosa, where we had a very famous incident between Juan Pablo Montoya and Michael Schumacher, where he was apparently not seeing him on the outside. Now we have a developed part of the track where more gravel is on the outside into Aqua Minerali. There's a double right-hander there with just some characteristics of turn 10 of Bahrain, just in reverse. 1.2 seconds currently on the clock for Pleasant Snake as he slides into Variante Alta over both of these curbs. Very high sausage curbs there. And now he's blasting through and going down into Ravazza, the only official last 2 turns. But obviously, judging that King on the main straight as well is officially our last turn 19. Just a bit of ERS left, blasting that out. They'll spin on the exit curb. Just take the tightest line, and he's over the line to take our provisional pole position back again with 4 tenths over Truckster and breaking into that 123 mark, as the current World Drivers' Championship leader is now back into the usual position we expect him to be as well.
Just looking at Race Chase as well. He's up into 5th place and now improving on his personal best as well. Just going through Aqua Minerale down the hill. Now it's a steep uphill approaching Variante Alta. It turns 12 and 13 there round the... there you go. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, let's see. Revances 1 and 2, and we'll be in a few moments' time. Now, of course, Truckster in 2nd place has gotten used to being there, but can he keep the consistency this week? Because for 2 races in a row, we've seen him be 2nd, really put up a good fight with Pleasant Snake, but then at some point in the Grand Prix, just falls apart, and he just gets too desperate on his right foot with the tyre wear and everything, and it just comes away as Race Chase up into 2nd there, but of course, still 3.5 minutes to go in this session, and there's still a lot to be decided, but at the moment, but one thing that I would say to Truckster is just keep calm, not try and get so desperate on your right foot, just control how you accelerate the car out the corner. Just got to be careful about that, but obviously I am being Mr. Obvious right now. Well, I'm trying to find somebody who is on at a time. Debutant here, Matt the Tank, invalidates his time by skipping over the first part of the Aqua Minerale, so he won't be able to complete that, but I don't think it was a representative anyway. Quad is on another lap, but now invalidated again, so I'm not actually too certain who is on a time at the moment. We've got Rolly, who I think just came through into 5th there, so he's definitely just come off. We've got Moksha here in the Williams, going through Trigado into Tamburello. And he's just going on that short straight now between that corner and Villeneuve. So he's going to be approaching that at a rate of knots, much faster in the dry. But then again, still looks pretty quick, even in the wet conditions. Going a bit wide there at the exit. And we'll see if Moksha can continue his run of podiums. He's up a couple of tenths on his personal best for now. He's going to go up the hill and approach Piratella. We were on with Traban earlier on in the session where he got this completely wrong. Does Moksha get this right? Yep, definitely taking the curb there. And he keeps going on the exit. So more momentum there already as Chabran is up into 4th place as soon as we say that. But here at Aqua Minerale, Moksha is on a mission, still trying to complete his lap as he approaches Variante Alta, Herman.
Yeah, Moksha is obviously trying to look onto a better result after yesterday. I wasn't so satisfied despite his, I think, top 5 finish at the end behind me. So, yeah, he wasn't feeling the race pace as now Rolly takes away provisional pole position by just 300ths of a second as the Williams now approaches the secondary Varza and is onto about completing a lap. I was just watching Quincy as well doing a multiple outlaps to get the timing right on the final lap because there's so much track evolution to be found. A second found by Moksha only stays 6th for now, so yeah, if there's anything more he can do, that would be great as Truckster now goes clear by a mile over Rolly, 0.8 of a second, but as I said, I think there are more improvements coming very soon as the track is ramping up, so we have to keep an eye out for someone like Fellerson, who's about to be finishing his one as well. Goes 2nd with a 23.2 as he's currently into 2nd position with that 2nd Williams as well. So beating Moksha currently, despite not racing too much, so a very interesting dynamic there for the former Williams pair of season 5 as mentioned before. And Quincy, I think, is about to be pushing that final attempt out of his car now as Pleasant Snake has 45 seconds to get over the line. I think it should be doable. The track is very short even in this rainy weather as more lap times will be coming in shortly. And with that, obviously, Salvi, Devsy as well. We still haven't seen a time for Bruiser, who's already here with us, is also here with us now. Kwon in 18th right now without a lap time as well. So we are going to be going to that very hot final minute into this qualifying session now.
Quincy is approaching Aqua Minerale now. He'll be one of the first few drivers to complete this qualifying session. 10 seconds to go. Energetic just joins in, but obviously doesn't have enough time for a lap, so he'll start right at the back as Bavish retires from the session. I think he was just doing some practice runs because he will obviously start from the back. And Sir Rebo comes across the line there. 1:35.5. That is really awful in terms of representative pace there from him as Bruiser does a 2:03. And never mind, swallow my words, I shall. As that is 17 drivers completing their time now, Bavish being the only one disqualified due to being in Division 1. But here we go, Quincy to the line. It's 3rd place for him, but it isn't over yet. Fellow Son is on a lap, but no longer. Rolly is also on a lap, but is down a little bit. Pleasant Snake is up by half a second nearly through the first sector, and there's still a lot of the lap to go, but there's others as well approaching the line. We have Salvi coming to the line as well, but invalidated, so this will not count, so his qualifying is done. To Brad to the line next, and that is 6th place for him. And then there's a red borderline that will be of Toby. He stays 9th for now. Well, he stays 9th in his times, but it's skid solo next to the line, but that's an invalidation, so that will not count now. One of the Mercedes next, but invalidated is Rowley, so that means Pleasant Sake, as he's still on the run, as he is indeed. No invalidations from the championship leader. We didn't see what the difference was in Sector 2, but we're through Ravatsa 2. We are about to see where he will place. Is it pole, or is it not? It is gonna be pole position, the only driver to get into the 122s, and yet again Trugster has to settle for second best, but he's got used to that, and he is on pace with Trugster in the dry. He is definitely one to look out for, but Trugster here is again beaten to pole. Pleasant Snake continues his run, 6 races out of 7. He is at the top yet again. Herman.
Yeah, that was quite stellar, despite the variant of not being that tidy as I was watching that lap throughout. And you have to say, Moksha also improving to 5th at the end there was very important here. I think makes this race maybe a bit more easy. You have quite a tough rundown into turn 1, and yeah, I think in terms of positioning your car, Pleasant Snake isn't on the best pole position, maybe the worst you can say, because it's off angle and you don't have the better line as well. Let's see what you can do.
As we are now going to go through the screen, Pleasant Snake, Trugster, Flash, I can see a Moksha in top 5. Rolly, Travan, Trisha, Squad, Gino in your top 10. Then it's Toby, Devsy, Matt, Tank, Versalvi, Solo in your 15. Then Sir Ibo, Bruiser, Bavish, and that was your top 18 there.
Yeah, and Energetic with no time starts from back as Slim Slady has stood up again. All right.
It's predictions time here in the SSRL Division 2 silliness.
Yes.
And our top 5 are going to be as follows. Let me bring up the race director, and I will give you my predictions first. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go from 5th to 1st. So it is going to be Race Chase in 5th for me. Moksha will be 4th. Quincy will be 3rd. Trugster 2nd, and Pleasant Snake 1st. I'm going to play it pretty safe.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go for a top 5 finish for Energetic, so 5th Energetic. Snake win, yes. I agree. I think Fellison 2nd. Quincy 3rd. And let me bring it up as well. Moksha 4th, I agree as well. Not back in Chuckster. I think there might be something happening.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I don't blame you for doing that, but I think I think he might have it this week. 3rd time is the charm. Usually, I like to say that, but I don't know if this will be any different. But I am gonna hope regardless. But of course, not as many runoff places here. It's only really through Piratella and Aqua Minerale, and that's it in terms of runoff areas. Maybe Variante Alta, a little bit, but otherwise.
Yeah, but spins are easy on the curbs if you overdo it.
That is true.
From inters to dry conditions. The only thing I'm saying is like if you can't close the gaps on the start, then you're like putting yourself very off, and then you can maybe get tapped on a like slightly T-bone crash, and then nothing in terms of his fault maybe can be happening. So extra, like even if it's only damage to the wing, that's for sure most likely an extra pit stop, because you need that downforce all over the track, and only there's like nothing in terms of time gained if you stay out too much, especially if that front right hand side of the M plate is damaged, because most of these turns are left hand side turns, as this track is anti-clockwise. So yeah, I see maybe a collision between turns 2 to 4 in sort of the first lap, where maybe positions 1 to 6 could be at ease. So yeah, let's see.
Let's see, indeed. It is a very short run from the start-finish line to turn 1 at the same time, but as you say, the angle is rather awkward. Didn't matter for Andy Andre last night, though. He still kept the lead after turn 1, but of course, Pleasant Stake and Andy Andre are two different people. But I do wonder sometimes if Andy and Pleasant Stake and maybe even Rush were all in the same division, what a title fight we would have. And for yourself as well, of course, just before I forget.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are almost...
So 12 once he forgets me.
We are currently 1 minute over from our starting time, so it should be any moment now we get underway and we will have the formation lap. We will remind you of your order during the formation lap, and in fact, speak of the Angel, and they will appear. And here we go. It is Pleasant Stake on pole position, followed by Trugster in second place, with Fellow Sun in third. Quincy rounds out fourth there, with Moksha in fifth. Rowley in sixth position, with Tabran in seventh. Race Chase is eighth. My prediction for fifth place tonight. Kwan is ninth there at the last possible minute in qualifying. I completely missed that. Tark and Gino in 10th place, with Toby in 11th. Sergeant Devsy is 12th. Matt the Tank, unlucky number 13 for him, but maybe a reverse of fortunes for him. Salvi, after being third last week, is down to 14th. Definitely a bit of a yo-yo of form from the Italian driver. Skid Solo rounds out your top 15 there, as Sir Ibro qualifies outside the points in 16th. Bruiser is 17th. Bavish and Energetic start from the bank, as they are Division 1 drivers. So that's 19 drivers rounded out for your Imola Grand Prix tonight. Of course, 32 laps to come once we get to the start-finish line. But here we go. And that run to turn 1 is going to be oh so crucial. Trugster might be the one that needs to get this done, because remember, DRS isn't actually in use until lap 3, because there's only one zone on the start-finish straight.
Yeah, very late, so you have a lot of opportunities to get away. And I think... yeah, is anything Snake needs to get it done in terms of like getting away instead of the first laps. He tried to do that on a very interesting track with Brazil last time out as well. It didn't work. He had the train with him for like most of the race, especially before that pit stop phase with the safety car came. So that completely turned it in towards his favor. So I think he's trying to park this up more to the right hand side now. He's bringing the car in to straight line it now. And yeah, that looks very nicely done. Obviously needs to get the parking right, otherwise he will be resetted. And yeah, we are now looking at a 19 driver grid, who is obviously trying to give us the best racing possible as we await the 5 lights on the gantry. Take it away.
Absolutely, the countdown is a few moments away. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's go in Imola. And actually, Trugster was quicker to get away. And he's straight to the lead. But does Pleasant Stake have the better traction off the start? Here we go. We're going side by side into turn 1. Who is going to be the better on the brakes? Trugster to the outside, Stake to the inside. Lots of collisions in the background. The Haas spins round. That was Salvi down to the back. But already Quincy is ahead into second place as well. Pleasant Stake with the worst possible start there, having to give Trugster the space. He's into the lead. And now Fellow Sun is battling as Quincy battles from the lead as well. This is awful for the Aston Martin. The Williams does the over-under. Snake has a moment on the exit of Tosa, and that is probably what Quincy needs to get back into this tonight. Going into the race is 25 points behind, as Matt the Tank has fallen off a little bit, down to 13th. He goes, well, 14th even, as Skid Solo goes up into 13th. But at the moment, the main headline of lap 1 is Trugster takes the lead. Quincy into second, and Pleasant Stake in unfamiliar territory. Third place, as Bavish and Energetic go side by side into the variante alter. A lot of action in so little time. These two are still side by side, going down into the Ravazzas. Here we go. It's the Ferrari to the inside, McLaren outside, and it's the Ferrari that wins out. And finally, Herman, that's your assessment as we complete lap 1.
Yeah, I was watching with Energetic from his on board, and there was a huge collision with Devsy and Salvi at the start, and they were both off into the gravel at turn 1. And
Leader.
Energetic got the lightning start.
Sorry, leaders are going side by side again. Quincy is now trying to fight Truckster here as we go down into Villeneuve. They're going side by side again. Truckster gives him a generous amount of room, but already that brings Pleasant Snake into things yet again. But Fellow Sun is having another look at the Aston Martin down the inside into Tosa. And I think Fellow Sun is about to make Pleasant Snake's first stint of the race a heck of a lot worse. And Pleasant Snake's on the grass with 2 wheels there. And that is insane stuff there. As now the McLaren of Tabran wants a piece of this. He's going around the outside of Ackerman-Raleigh. What a move by Tabran! Oh my goodness me! You don't see that at all, and it's just been done by the McLaren. Herman, sorry to have bothered you there.
All good, like Energetic has the lightning start, avoided all of that contact, is into 12 positions already, and I have to say, what is going on with Snake? Has multiple drivers spin out at the back of the field, with multiple drivers already taking their first pit stop after a collision, as I said before, involving Defsy and also Matt and also Salvi, as now T-Bran has now taken 4th place away from our current Drivers' Championship leaders. Quincy now takes 1st position of Truckster, and Fellison does it as well. Into 2nd goes the Williams reserve driver for tonight, and T-Burn and Rowley has also passed Pleasant Snake as well, down to 6th position. The worst start you could have possibly imagined. The guy who leads 25 points over P2 is currently into 6th position, using a huge amount of points to the current race leader, and Chaser into 2nd position. They had always been at the neck and neck last season for the title, as that's the first 3-second time penalty coming your way, and we have a very interesting first in our hands, as Pleasant Snake is only in 6th position, now being gunned down by Moksha perhaps, if he can't find the rhythm. What's going on with Snake is the biggest question I have to ask after these first 3 laps, as we approach another start-finish straight, and maybe some more position changes at the front, as Quincy's the only one inside of the first 12 drivers to not have the S on the main straight.
Absolutely here, and Energetic, of course, I have to remember he is in this Division 2 fight as well. Came into tonight 35 points behind, so he's got a monumental effort to get through all of this. But Quincy is going to be under pressure on the start-finish straight, the only DRS zone, as we have alluded to many a times. And here we go, to the inside goes Quincy, but to the outside goes a pacey Fellow Sun, and he takes the lead in the Grand Prix. And that is your 3rd different leader, as Pleasant Snake finding some rhythm now, gets past Rowley. He's back up into 5th place, but we have a caution. Tarkangino in the barrier and in the gravel trap. He's getting away scot-free as he rejoins on the track rather safely, and he continues on, so no intervention required from race control there. But now, finally, I think Pleasant Snake is finally starting to not feel so alien anymore, and he is back with us because he's already catching Tabran at under half a second, so I think things are normalizing. Now, just in case if you didn't catch the tyres at the beginning of this race, everybody went straight onto mediums. Now, we have had a few pit stops due to damage. Matt the Tank went on the soft, Sergeant Devsy on mediums, and Quan going long on hards, but those 3 are forced into a 2-stop due to pitting early, so their races are rather compromised if there is no safety car in this race. But here we go again. We are about to have part 4 of this battle for the lead, which is involving 11 drivers so far. This is an excellent Grand Prix, as Bavish now makes his move past Toby, one of the Division 1 guys forced to start from the back, and now Quincy is about to have a battle with Fellow Sun as he tries around the outside. Didn't even need the corner there, and in that same frame we see Pleasant Snake go up into 4th place, starting his recovery, and now it is business as usual in the Aston Martin garage. Just looks like he had a bit of he was thrown off by just having to go side by side with Truckster. Didn't expect that impressive start that the Red Bull got, and I think Truckster was just better at the reaction instead of Snake, so just a bit of a rare mistake there, but Pleasant Snake doing more than enough to make up the ground, as Tabran there has a moment on the exit of Tosa, and well, he continues on for the time being. But Rowley now starting to gear up for 5th place, but otherwise Quincy continues to lead despite being under pressure from DRS from Fellow Sun. Well, that was, sorry, no, he overtook on the last lap, so at the moment your top 3 under a second as Race Chase goes up into 7th, Herman.
Yeah, I think Pleasant Snake was looking like he wanted to get that advantage from T-Burn, since he dropped out of that DS from Truckster, and now use the space to get into the DRS of trucks ahead as well. So yeah, good stint coming up shortly maybe from Snake. Needs to find his groove. Not so sure if there's any major difference inside of these top 4-3 guys now soon with the setups, because maybe Snake was just not prepared to run cold tires. Now Fellerson goes back to first position into turn 2, cuts the chicane on the inside, doesn't complete the move on track completely as Truckster runs into the back of Quincy as they are side by side into the Variante Villeneuve again, and onto that little straight in between the first and the second chicane, as there was just a slight mistake by Fellerson that cost him momentum out of the first chicane to get it planted and going, and that obviously opened the door for a move there, but couldn't really get it done because the track with 2 cars blocking your way is just too narrow to make it 3 wide. Can barely do that on the main straight, and that is maybe the biggest width you can imagine on this track. Other than that, very close to get even 2 cars side by side racing.
Oh no, Fellerson has spun round and he's got a 3-second penalty, and Truckster does the same thing, but now this allows Pleasant Snake to go up into 3rd place there, side by side on the exit of Variante Alta. And there we go, that is Pleasant Snake up to 3rd, but now Truckster with a 3-second penalty, probably due to avoiding colliding with fellow Sun there, but a rare mistake there from the Hungarian driver. Sees him now having to serve that post race, and now Pleasant Snake surely with the most academic run to 2nd place. Herman, sorry about that.
Yeah, it was straight corner cutting penalties for both of them, so that might be looked into, because if you get these, they can be looked at by our stewards. And there's another offer for Fellerson into the first chicane as well, and he needs to let these guys by, as he's just running all over this gravel at the exit of the first chicane, and now is trying to get it back onto the track, skidding over into the garage section on the left hand side, and has now completely lost it and is out of the fight for what has been a very nice fight for the top 2 positions. As now Pleasant Snake is gapping Truckster and is inside of that 1 second window already, and Quincy must be thinking to himself, what does this guy need in terms of bad luck to not be leading or winning, because he is catching the Ferrari ahead in a rate of knots as of right now, and will be going for that pass soon, because you can get half a second, even 6/10 on the main straight advantage to even pass someone if you don't press all of your overtake. And that extra bit of energy out of your car, as he's currently on 35% and the Ferrari is on 60. That difference is not enough to defend that position. If you want to go for it, he could do it now. And Truckster is still with him, but the 3 second is going to be standing for now. And let's see if there's a swap, maybe 7/10. That's a bit too much for that track length into turn 2 left as we approach the first chicane. For the 8th time in this race, as Moksha is now onto T-Brand and to 5th position, as he is trying to make some good points here for Williams as well. Rowley is a bit of a no man's land, as there's another yellow at the back for the guys. And yeah, we are waiting pit stops inside of the next 5 to 6 laps. There's obviously a lot of undercut opportunities as we see this fight with T-Brand, Bavish, Race Chase, and Moksha inside of with Energetic as well on the back of that. So very well managed so far, starting from 19th, as I just jinxed him to a 3 second time penalty, so that's that. But yeah, we're gonna be seeing stops very soon, and let's see who learned, especially from the not two stopping from yesterday. So still a lot of things that can unravel here, as there is Trackster still with Pleasant Snake for now, but Pleasant Snake is on the merge of losing that DRS, and maybe has lost it because that DRS detection point is very early inside of that last part of this track. And yeah, he is defenseless. Half a second could be enough for Trackster. You're using a bit of the battery, closing down that 8/10 disadvantage he had. But yeah, he's just gonna be keeping behind that Aston Martin, as T-Brand maybe wants to get by again on Moksha to the outside of 2. Tamborelli is a very good overtaking opportunity, the best on this track, and the McLaren gets it done. Keep it on the track as well. Moksha to the inside of Variante Alta. Can this go through? And he does it around the outside. Beautiful move by the German to take 5th place back again, as Bavish is trying to line up the inside of Tosa against T-Brand, but hits that curb on the inside. That is very detrimental to your racing line and your exit, and maybe Race Chase can benefit from that. but he has not used the tightest line up towards Biatella up into turn 9, but he is staying behind for now. Very nicely executed by Moksha to get that 5th position back, but obviously all of that fighting cost them to catch to the guys ahead, and the tire life will be shredded even faster if you don't watch out for that. But very, very nice racing by these two.
Exactly, and it is becoming a very entertaining Grand Prix. It's certainly more explosive than last night. It was a relatively calm, rhythmed race. Mistakes here and there. There was a yellow flag for Dempsey, and now there's a yellow flag for a Red Bull. That would be of Toby there. And speaking of Red Bulls, Truckster here is letting mistakes starting to slip in here. You're just noticing here and there that he's just having little wobbles on the rear of his car there, so the tyres not at their best, and surely Truckster will be just thinking, don't make any more mistakes. Don't make your race catastrophically bad by just losing it anywhere. And Truckster doing a fine job of that so far, despite that.
Moksha's lost it! Moksha's lost it out of the first chicane!
Oh no!
And he is off with front wing damage to the left-hand side end plate. That is surely now the 2-stop for him, as well as T-Ban just pitted as well. So that's the 2-stop for him as well. Very early lap 10 is too early for that 1-stop. You can't really make that tire work. You're just risking punctured territory, as the Williams now needs to move back into the pit lane with over basically a whole lap with that wing damage on his left-hand side. So that is gonna be huge disappointment after he just pulled off one of the best moves inside of that season for sure. One for the highlight compilation, but yeah, he is back down, and Bevish and Race Chase as well as Energetic benefit from that, as the top two have stayed away from each other so far. There's a bit of socialized distancing between Snake and Quincy, but he is currently holding that pace while Traxxas are still with that Aston Martin. So it seems like Quincy for me right now seems to be having that better race pace, as T-Burn just moved by on Salvi on the fresh R tire, but still needs to pit a second time because it's way too early. And Pleasant Snake with a mistake! Traxxas through as well. What's going on here? Snake infinitely slow at the exit of Tamburello. There is now Trucks that takes second place away from that Aston Martin again, and Quincy's gap has opened up to 2 seconds.
This is
another rare mistake.
Another rare mistake, as Herman says, and Pleasant Snake here is just struggling with Imola. Again, we might even see another another twist in the story of the championship. We saw it last night in Division 1. Worcester Siri extending his gap to Herman, but Andy taking that win rather dominantly. And now, Pleasant Snake is over the 1 second gap on these mediums, shredding themselves to bits. Is Pleasant Snake setup not there? And look again, through the altar, it just was not hooked up at all, having to correct several times through the corner. And it's just looking like, for the first time, the Aston Martin is vulnerable despite taking poles in 6 of the 7 races. He's again not going to convert that to a win as things stand right now. The last time that happened was last week, where he got 4th place, so he was off the podium as well. And you know, with all these mistakes creeping in, you all of a sudden don't discount Bavish, don't discount Race Chase, don't even discount Rowley, who's the more immediate threat. But speaking of Race Chase, he is closing up to Bavish as we approach turn 1 now. Not close enough to have a go though, needed to be more alongside as Bavish with a 3-second penalty there, Herman.
Yeah, that is unfortunate timing there, but still a long race to go, and these gaps have opened up significantly now. Moksha is outside of the train, T-Brand is committed to his 2-stop. Moksha with his mistake is forced now. We also saw that Falison dropped completely out of it, is currently fighting Quan for the last point inside of the race. Skid Solo pits now. Skid Solo is now onto a second set of medium. That is not the correct tire, but the pit stop was the correct one. Earliest you can do is lap 12, but I think we were seeing these guys at the front, especially extending towards lap 13 or 12. And there's another yellow flag for a mistake.
Rowley and Bavish have crashed!
Off.
Rowley and Bavish have had a collision, and Rowley is the one blamed by virtual race control. We were just talking about how Rowley was in immediate threat for the podium, and that just got blown up because now Race Chase is up into 4th place, 6.4 seconds to Pleasant Snake as Truckster into the pit lane as Bruiser gets a 3-second penalty, but not really any worry for him. He's got 31 seconds to the car behind him, but now Truckster is the one with the undercut advantage. Hards for him. He'll try to go to the end on those tyres as now Energetic will assume his position for the time being, as now Race Chase is up into 3rd place, but obviously that's because he's not made his pit stop and has just got past the lapped car of Matt the Tank there, who of course is debuting, but I'm not going to be too impressed with that. Down in 17th place, unfortunate for him, regardless, is now Tabran will of course reassume positions as Rolly having to change his front wing. Bavish is now on those fresh tyres, but yeah, no, unfortunate for Bavish and Rolly there, who were involved in a good little battle, and it's all come undone as now we have another yellow flag there. What is going on down at that very corner? Seems to have sorted itself out. But also, update for you, 2 seconds between Quincy and Pleasant Snake. That gap continues to go. Oh my goodness me, as Toby has lost it through the wrong corner there. That is a rear end. That is a slide through Trogrado and through Tamburello. Well, Toby gets it pointing in the right direction eventually as Rolly and Skid Solo go side by side with one another. But wait, no, Fellow Sun's there as well. Where has that come from? Fellow Sun and Rolly going side by side. Don't think we expected that, but Fellow Sun allows the Mercedes through as Pleasant Snake and Quincy pit at the exact same time. So it is a race between the pit crews. Race Chase also into the pit lane. Obviously, there's a brief swap for the pit boxes. That is as expected. But who is out ahead? It is Quincy there. So the Ferrari pit mechanics go to work successfully, and Quincy comes out ahead as Energetic will assume the lead for the time being. But what about Trugster here? He wanted the undercut on both of these drivers. Has he got it done? He has! And he's ahead of Quincy and Pleasant Snake. The undercut working beautifully here. But he needs that 3-second gap for track limits just to be safe. But it is 1.3 seconds when Quincy exits the pit lane. But Pleasant Snake down to 3rd. And he is in all sorts of trouble here, because that championship lead is going to be sunk into by about 7 points here, because of course 3rd place gets 18 points, and if Quincy gets fastest lap as well, that is going to be more points going his way. In fact, I can give you the accurate, it's right here. So no, it's actually 9 points. I beg your pardon, correction there, 9 points. But if he gets that point for fastest lap, then that would be a 10-point deficit. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But Quincy already struggling, well, already getting to the back of this as Bavish makes up a position in the background. So that's Quincy's teammate there doing what he needs to do for the constructors. Ferrari, of course, 11 points behind the Astons going into tonight. So this will be quite a significant chunk of points, even for the constructors, and yellow flags everywhere already. Toby has gone into the barrier at Piratella here, and it is all kicking off, and things are happening left, right, and centre. I don't know where to look half the time.
Yeah, it's very chaotic today. I was watching Race Chase trying to see what his pace was currently on that old medium tire. It just went off in Variante Alta as well while trying to lap Matt the Tank. So a lot of small mistakes creeping in, but Race Chase is still in a fight for like a net 4th position, because his gap currently to Bavish and also Mocho, who needs to do another pit stop, is very good, and Energetic has swapped to that 2nd medium as well. So not doing the right strategy calls right now, some of these guys are doing. And yeah, Pleasant Snake is, if anything, should be very worried, because Truckster and Quincy, if they don't fight too much into that 2nd turn, they can boost each other away from Snake, because he needs to be using all of that extra energy inside of these on these straight bits, mostly into turn 2 on the main straight. So there will be a chance for Truckster and Quincy to play along and even get Truckster out of that 3-second, who I think, judging on what I've seen, is still in question, because that move looked like he was trying to avoid the car ahead and has nothing to do with him actually going for a corner cut, because if you get a corner cut and there was no track limit extension penalty, you are looking for a severe cut on any corner, and there were also many other drivers who were trying to avoid incidents like this before, despite not having penalties. And also, I think, judging on that Rolly and Bavish incident, the yellow flag was out for Mercedes earlier, so I think Bavish must have hit an unsafe rejoin of Rolly there. So yeah, I'm interested to see what the stewards room will provide for that one, as I don't think they were not close to each other on track. So just a bit of observation. There's another time penalty for Salvage, just a couple of seconds. I will got another one as well, as Fellison is back into what is currently 10th position, as Energetic now pits again. Just 2 laps ago, he had fresh medium tires to his name, so maybe there was a mistake on his side. Maybe clicked to the wrong tire, as the gap at the front is currently below a second, but Pleasant Snake has dropped to 4 seconds. You have to say this is one of the worst, if not the worst, race from him inside of the season, as Kuan is off at the end of turn 4. So another victim to that gravel trap and that very aggressive curb on the inside of turn 3, that right hand side part of the first chicane, as we now approach lap 17 out of 32 with Truckster being chased down by Quincy. He is currently saving a bit of that ES behind, 20% battery, but they're getting away from Snake, and that is very important for Truckster and Quincy as well, because he is currently, if that penalty stands, net leader and winner as well, but also Snake loses more points if Truckster stays second. Devils now back into 6th position with a bit of a tire advantage over Moksha, and they're currently into that first chicane again, as more and more drivers fighting to get positions back on track and using all of their strategy knowledge, maybe also from yesterday, to get better over these other guys. And I think still Race Chase looks very good to me. If he can find some pace, he will be maybe in a... If the Pleasant Snake has troubles again at the end of the stint with used tires, he might be there, because we both know that he took these hard tires in Mexico and Brazil very long and was very successful in that, taking a 2nd place on track in Mexico, later demoted again at a podium finish inside of last week's race. So if anything, Race Chase to 4th, G-Band is still yet to pit for a 2nd time, way too early on that. Devish another time penalty, lots and lots of drivers currently out of form, and most notably Pleasant Snake, but he has cut a bit of the lead, as the front 2 are fighting now, but there's more of a switch, and they just don't want to hold up each other right now, I think. So yeah, that extensive advantage over that DRS zone, the only one we have on this track, is just too powerful to get a very fierce competitor and the current championship leader out of the way.
Here we go then. It's already Pleasant Snake 3.6 seconds after this. Well, after the switch was done, we're losing valuable points at the moment. Just giving you an idea of who has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. Once I do get that chance, it is currently Bavish there with a 1:16.6. So at the moment, Ferrari take the extra point. But at the moment, it is not, well, it's good for the constructors, but not good if you're Quincy, who would want that extra point over Pleasant Snake. At the moment, he would be outscoring him by 9 points, so that brings the championship gap from 25 to 16 points. But I am sure there is still a long way to go, and hope, well, for Pleasant Snake's sake, he has got something in the bag that he will be saving. At the moment, our top 5 predictions, I'm not sure how they're going so far, but I don't think I predicted this. Pleasant Snake not even close to the winners at the moment, as our Truckster and Quincy do another swap-a-roo. Quincy looked like he was just holding it down the inside there for a bit too long, potentially, so a bit of a hold-up there. This is now the closest battle on track, as Snake there gained actually 0.4 of a second on that run alone. So already it looks like it's Pleasant Snake in the driver's seat yet again, as that gap is now under 3 seconds. So here, well, at the moment, looks like Pleasant Snake is starting to realise what's at stake, and he's got the hurry on, and it looks like this Grand Prix is not over yet. Still 14 laps to go, as we are seeing, well, as we see Energetic getting onto the back of Skid Solo, but we are denied the battle because Skid Solo needs to go into the pits for his 2nd stop. Only 6 laps on those medium tyres. I'm kind of surprised here how many 2 stops we're seeing. Of course, some don't surprise me, because some had to pit earlier on for damage to their front wing or their car, but now also we are seeing a battle for 4th place here between Tabran and Race Chase. That will get going in just a few moments, but let's see what happens here. Truckster may have DRS to what is Salvi here, who is letting the cars through here. Did Trugster get DRS? No, he did not, but they've both passed the lap car now. We have a caution in Sector 2, but that will be briefly waved away. I don't see any reason for that to continue on, as Quincy retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. So now we look at this battle between Race Chase and Tabran. Tabran just getting that 3-second penalty for track limits, so this is going to be academic. Race Chase now up into 4th place here. A good drive from the American so far, who got a podium last week. He went from 7th to 2nd place. At the moment, he is going from 4th, 8th to 4th place. So a good drive from the American again, Herman.
Yeah, he has continued to work his way into this game. It seems there was a very strong showing from him inside of the last season, as he was partnering the current race leader for McLaren, that also took the Constructors' Championship crown. So he has something to offer, but maybe has also not find himself that comfortable on these tracks. As I fear, yeah, the second half that is usually not raced, especially if you do some typical career, maybe where you just do the first couple of races, and then the later half of the calendar, which is also obviously copied and kind of synced with what we have right now, with Vegas coming up this weekend, and we also racing there in 7 days time. These tracks are, if you don't want to race them, rarely raced, and that is obviously shown here as well, as Truckster goes by again on the Ferrari. No fight back there, just hit your braking point and then be off again, because yeah, there is obviously Pleasant Snake breathing down your neck if you mess this up and lose too much time. Also very interesting to note that from what the tire choices also show and what the game suggests, it seems to be, especially because the tire in the medium is so high, to be more of a two-stop, and most of the drivers, if they don't practice, they go off of the fear of the tire. So if they see the medium decayed like it does on this track, especially the rear tires, because they use so much out of the chicanes, you require that rear exit grip to get a move on. And myself would have probably gone for two-stop yesterday if it wasn't for a late practice call, as there's a brief yellow for Skid Solo to get out of the way, as both of our leaders were passing him, and it's good to go again. And Pleasant Snake 2.4 seconds as we approach lap 22, 11 laps to go. Interested to see if he can bring that gap down sooner rather than later. Bevish is about to be passing T-Brand if he doesn't go for his second pit stop, because these tires will be screaming soon. Truckster gets overtaking once again. Quincy back to the lead, as Toby pits as well after 2 spins that cost him maybe a good top 10 finish, because some drivers are seriously struggling. Salvi is not where we are used to be seeing him. You called him a very good surprise inside of the season, as he has also joined us for the first time full-time. But the current best of the rest status is gone, as he is currently in 11th position, really fighting. No one really behind him, no one ahead of him for position, and more pit stops are coming soon. And Feddersen is going to start off that phase for the two stoppers here, as I expect also Moksha to be coming in soon, maybe again. And yeah, obviously energetic. Let's see that extra stint on a medium, not sure. Tarkangino just pitted to a medium. That still a lot of positions not to be confirmed right now, but later down the line with 10.5 more to go. As there's now 11th position for Feddersen at the exit of the pit lane, and top 2 are also on the main straight as well, which is very interesting. Pleasant Snake 2.4. Don't think there's going to be swap at the front for now. Gap is quite big. So let's await what these fresher tire runners can do, as Kwan takes Matt the tank on the main straight. And Pleasant Snake has a 3-second time penalty!
Oh.
This is for the curveball!
This is an forgettable race for the Norwegian driver. Snake here is absolutely suffering, and now with a post-race penalty, pressure is off Quincy, especially Trugster now. He just needs to stay within the DRS zone of Quincy, and that is his race secured. It is going from bad to worse here, and the 9-point swing is certainly going Quincy's way. So if things stay as they are right now, and I'm not sure if they will, to be honest with you, we have 10 laps to go still, and anything that can happen in SSRL is more than guaranteed to happen. Pavish also has 9 seconds to his name game post-race. It's don't count your chickens just yet. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. All the sayings that are cliched, because this one isn't decided yet. I still think there are a few twists and turns to go here, as we are seeing more overtakes happen in the background here. Salvi up into 10th place here, and just to kind of comment on where I was coming from with Salvi, as now Truckster takes the lead just right off of that, but obviously remember, post-race penalty coming for him, 3 seconds, might try and get that removed, so this may be a more critical battle than Quincy realizes. We will wait and see, but 9 laps to go for these two. But as I was saying with Salvi just earlier on, like, Herman said, like, obviously I think he's been a great debut so far, but in the more recent races he's been a bit of a yo-yo. It's just like, is he up, is he down? It kind of goes from week to week more recently. Like, the qualifying last week was absolutely great, but then his race just wasn't great at all. He went down to 9th place. He was on the fringes of the top 10. So I don't know, Salvi's just kind of had this unexpected up and down form. I'm just not sure where he is in reality, because it seems to depend on where we go, which isn't too unnatural when you're new to the league and you're just trying to find your footing. So if I'm able to keep up with SSRL next season, despite being overseas, I would certainly be interested to see where Salvi is, particularly in this division. But anyway, we are about to go down to the DRS straight here as Salvi and Fellow Son swap again, but then Tarkin Gino comes through as well, and he might be about to make 2 and 1 here. Fellow Son in a battle he didn't want to be in. Tarkin Gino to the outside, but has the slot behind for now, so that gives us a good excuse to transition back to this battle for the lead, as Quincy will get that done rather academically so. And every time Quincy overtakes, that gap to Pleasant Snake increases, but every time Truckster overtakes, that gap decreases. So something I've been noticing from lap to lap. I don't know if there's something different in the way they're being Truckster overtakes to where compared to where Quincy overtakes, but it is just something I have noticed more often than not. But I don't know, I could be looking into things a bit too deeply there. But regardless, it is meaning that Pleasant Snake is now at 2 seconds, so the pressure ain't off just yet, as now Bruiser is going very slowly indeed, and nearly holding up held up Salvi there. So Salvi impeded by lap traffic as he gets a 3-second penalty for trail limit violations, and Salvi's total up to 12 seconds. Definitely an off evening for the Italian driver in the Haas car. But at the moment, Herman, where do things stand with 7 laps to go at the line?
Yeah, I think that home race advantage is not treating him that nicely at the moment for Salvi. Is even at risk to lose that position to Kuano, who's like 15 seconds down the road on the track. I've been watching Pleasant Snake for the last 2 laps to see what he's doing with his tires, what he's doing with his pace. And he's been using those rear tires, especially all over the place at the exit of most of these turns, and especially chicane. So he has clawed back sometime significantly, but he's also exploring, and these track limits are not his friends. Though, especially interesting, obviously, if Truckster can stay ahead for the rest of the race and get that time penalty removed. That was with that incident into Variante Alta earlier in the race, as Fellison missed that braking point, and Truckster basically was trying to avoid him, and over these curbs you can't really see, especially in cockpit cam. There was maybe a troublesome moment there, as there's another spin for Devsy right behind Pleasant Snake, as he is now approaching that 1.1 second mark. Maybe soon he's using all of his ERS, and that is not much, currently down to 30%, but there's still 7 laps to go at the line, and we are still seeing a charge from this Aston Martin, and we're currently, I'm just hoping that they basically can get a nice fight, but for the championship's sake, I hope that Quincy wins this one and Snake stays in 3rd. We still have over half the season to go, and Pleasant Snake Fleet has already taken a very, very high toll in terms of points over a win ahead, as Quincy now back to 1st position. They've been probably monitoring what's been happening with Snake, as you can see downwards into position 5 on your
Whoa, we've just had a spin from Quan there. Sorry about that. That is Trigado. Quan there spinning round. He just got overtaken by Toby. And Herman said earlier on that, Quan was on for 12th, but that has just gone out the window. And Quan is, round through his own mistake there. Sorry, Herman. Continue on.
Yeah, I was just making that point that there was probably a bit of a charge, or is still a bit of a charge here for Sneakers. Yeah, we now approach the final couple of laps. They obviously don't need to use all of these tires, especially the rears, because that advantage on the straight is like 4 to 5 tenths even, and if you get a clean pass before hitting the brakes, then you're just usually good to go. You don't need to stress these tires so much if you're already inside of that DRS zone. Come the approach of the Rivazza down the hill for that right hand side king. So yeah, if anything, they're not really rich on battery, but they're certainly rich on, I think, tires, because Snake must have been using them way more. Structures now back in to the lead of the race, 5 laps to go. Time penalty still looming over him, might be removed. Still a lot of question marks for the end of the race and the finishing order for the top 3. The rest seems to be locked in. I think, yeah, Bevish, that time penalty count is not giving him what is currently a chase for 4th position with race chase ahead. Moksha can also benefit from that, I think, soon. Yeah, 2 seconds he needs to find in order to get back on onto, yeah, and over the line for against the Ferrari. So some positions still up for grabs, and most of the field is spread like multiple drivers over double-digit seconds away from the next car, and we are going to be focusing on that top 3 as Pleasant Snake has made it into the DS of the top 2, and it's going to get spicy now because there is the detection zone and he can be saving some of the airs now if he wants to. They're very unequal on battery charge right now. Let's see what the move is for Quincy, for Truckster, and if Pleasant Snake can get something on in the next couple of laps, because the clock is ticking down as Bevish takes race chase before Rivazza, so maybe a bad exit from the V-Cup, as there's now another yellow forward. Must have been Tarkangino at the exit of turn 4, yes, and he needs to be aware that there is gonna be a lapping cars soon in his mirror, as yeah, he is about to be lapped by the leaders who have been running strong pace, and obviously the race is about to be over soon. So yeah, just make sure you don't spin right in front of the leaders while they fight for the victory.
Exactly. 4 laps to go at the moment here for these 3 drivers. Of course, Pleasant Snake's more than likely maximum position is going to be second place here, but Trugster is probably, well, unintentionally helping Quincy here, as we have a caution for a slow-moving vehicle just allowing lap traffic through. I think that was Bruiser there, the American driver, just going slowly there in 17th place. Skid Solo was trying to battle with Quan earlier on, but that battle has somewhat faded out. Now a difference of 1.6 seconds as Race Chase finds his way through Bavish again. So, but remember, Bavish with 9 seconds penalty, as again, there is a Haas going slowly. That's Matt the Tanker, I think, for lap traffic, or was that Salvi? I think that was Salvi, actually. Yes, it was, allowing these 3 through. So here we go. Quan now with a 3-second penalty. So when one driver falls, the other fall with him. Trugster with DRS, sorry, Quincy with DRS along with Trugster, and I don't know if Quincy realised it because he actually let the DRS close there. He's allowed Trugster back through, but that was a bit late there. That looked so indecisive. Quincy was just caught in 2 minds there as he approached the corner. Skid Solo now through as well for 2 points there. So, of course, remember, we score all the way down to 15 points. It's 1 to 10 points from 15th to 6th, and then from there it is 12 points, 14 points, 17 points, 21 points, and 26 points. But anyway, and an additional point for fastest lap as well, which at the moment is going to Bavish there. And of course, we'll let you know his final finishing position, which is more than likely 5th place, and Race Chase will take that away once we get to the line. 3 laps to go, and these 3 still to decide. Herman, do you dare predict how this one will finish?
Let me check what the Quincy is doing in terms of track limit warnings, and then I give you a most accurate prediction. There's only one, so yeah, he just needs to be aware that there's no room for a nervous lockup or a slight error on the brakes or whatever. Truckster is obviously trying to use some of the battery. Snake has been saving a lot, and he obviously gets a double slipstream, but that time penalty is not going anywhere. There's no DS for Truckster. ERS is used for Quincy, takes the first position away, and Pleasant Snake obviously needs to get by on Truckster, if anything, to get some points back. And I'm still thinking, for me, based on what I've seen, that Truckster penalty is not going to stay unless obviously he gets another warning or basically a bigger one in terms of like track limits exceeding. So right now I think Quincy is in good position, has taken the lead before the final opportunity to be repassed. So there might be, because he maybe didn't see that, it might be troublesome now, because if Truckster overtakes him and that penalty gets removed, he is not taking that win and will lose some points over Snake, who's obviously trying to line this up now. Has 100% charge while the rest is with 50%, and we're about to be crossing the line for the penultimate time, but really that is the last overtaking opportunity into turn 2 at the start of lap 32. Let's see what you can make of this, Dave, and let's see what the final lap holds for us here in Imola.
Revatsas 1 and 2 are going to be the most important corners for Quincy's Grand Prix. Maybe not only for Quincy, but for the two behind him. Truckster here. Oh, well, everyone got the best run here. 3 miles to decide where these three will finish. 2 are in a championship fight. Truckster is just in it for pride. He covers Pleasant Snakes outside, who has to force to the inside. Truckster nearly spinning. There's contact between the two. Pleasant Snakes still side by side with Truckster. Maximum damage control here. Oh, my goodness me, there's more contact. Bit of afters, and we go to Villeneuve now. Who's got the upper hand? Truckster with the inside line. Snake makes a mistake. That's it. I think Snake is going to have to settle for 3rd place. That allows Quincy to get away. And that is all said and done. Snake here is going to be taking 3rd place at the end of that. And we have got your winning order. But finally, after 5 races in a row, starting from anywhere to go to 2nd place, Quincy finally goes to take that step forward, and he will get a 9-point swing going his way. He started tonight with 25 points behind to Snake, but now that will be 16 points. Truckster may get his penalty removed, but now Quincy might just have a bit of pressure to the line here. Lap 32, it took until the final lap to decide, but here we go as Quincy now has had enough of 2nd. He dominates in Imola and wins the Grand Prix. Pleasant Snake, with an uncharacteristic mistake-filled Grand Prix, takes 3rd. And, well, he did try at the end there to take the position away, but no dice there. Babish will take 4th place, but due to his penalties, he will have to settle for 5th place. And Race Chase with a good drive yet again, going up to 4th place. And Moksha with a good drive. Well, I say good drive, but he's lost a position on his qualifying. But either way, did well to keep it between the white lines. No penalties here for Moksha as he takes 6th place. Tabran will also... Sorry?
You have to say that he did 22 laps on the hard, so he actually didn't opt for that second hard tire to go long and extend. So, yeah, judging by how that incident that happened for him is very good drive. So losing that 1 position, I think it's more than just damage limitation, as T-Ban Energetic 8th and 9th. Obviously, Energetic usually takes points for the Mercedes team, as he was just late to join with Tarkin Gino, Toby Lenzen, then 13 for Salvi Kwan. Last point goes to Skitsol, and we're still over the line right now with, unfortunately, in 19th position, but he's also the last guy, and we have all cars finishing today, which is obviously always nice to see, as we now have concluded a very emphatic Ferrari win at their home turf. You can also argue this for Vika, but a very good drive from Quincy to just get something better off Snake, and obviously you have to ask questions about that first stint, and we will be doing that soon to our top 3 in the post-race interviews as well.
Absolutely. The podium celebrations begin as the Tifosi go home happy. One of their own is at the top of the stage. Well, top of the podium, sorry about that. As now the champagne sprays, but Pleasant Snake will be asking himself questions, and we'll get questions from Herman in a few moments' time. We'll interview the top 3 in a couple of minutes, but otherwise Ferrari can go home happy with that and gain on Aston Martin, more importantly, in the constructors. So, of course, from 1st to 5th place, the total points there is 38 points, but of course Bravish got the fastest lap there, so they will take home the additional points. But anyway, we all know the race winner and the fastest lap lap driver of the day, energetic with most overtakes, but your cleanest driver was Moksha. But your unofficial results coming out of Imola is Quincy, Trugster and Pleasant Snake on the podium, 4th and 5th respectively, as Race Chaser Bavish, followed by Moksha, Rolly, Tabran, Energetic and Fellow Sun, rounding out your top 10. 11th, 15th is Gino, Toby, Salvi, Quan and Skid Solo. Then your rest of the finishers from 16th to 18th, or 19th even, are Matt, Bruiser, Devsy and Ibo. No DNFs in that one. Very good driving from all. And even Rush the Siri coming into the chat to say GG. But what a race that was. Very entertaining. A very rare mistake from Pleasant Snake.
Extraordinary, because it was so out of position with all these mistakes. So tough track. Some mastered it, others didn't. Very spread field, and we had a lot of upset positions, I would say, as well. So very similar to Brazil, but in a different way as well.
Absolutely. And any moment now, we will have our podium interviews. But either way, let's have a... Well, I just kind of try and break that down. Pleasant Snake's first stint really deciding that Grand Prix, and was just not the best first stint from him. But in actual fact now, I'm going to stop talking because we got our top 3 here. Herman, take it away.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are looking to speak to our race winner, and for the first time inside of the season, that is Quincy for Ferrari at their home turf. Quincy, you have worked your ass off, to say the least, inside of this race. It was a very impressive start. You got all of the opportunities. You took all of the opportunities, made very good use of that DS boosting with Truckster to get away from Snake. He used a lot of his tires inside of that second stint as he fell back from first to 6 on an opening one. Now you have clawed some ground back on him. You had a very good race. You looked very much in control. How was that race from your side?
Yeah, I think it was very good. From last night to tonight, it's been a complete turnaround. Well, to be honest, I felt like I had good pace last night, but I was managing a fuel issue. So that's why I was so slow in the last stint. But I think this time, because of the last race and incidents and whatnot and decisions, I literally just thought, you know what, you're behind, you're P4, you've got nothing to lose, just be aggressive but be safe. And it paid off, because that first move into turn 1 arguably won me the race today.
Yeah, that is obviously a strong argument for that. I was looking to get some insight on your quali strategy. I was surprised you went considering all of the last stints, you were one of the earliest guys. Maybe you missed out on a better position there as well. How was the qualifying from your side tonight compared to yesterday as well?
I'll be honest with you, quali was a complete distraction, because half of my mind was on setting a lap, and the second half was, why is this other Ferrari out on an out lap, 3 out laps, whatnot. So I was busy sort of getting back into the pits and typing and whatnot. So I wasn't fully focused, unfortunately, on qualifying, but I still managed to get a good lap in. So I felt quite good about it.
Yeah, I would say that obviously yesterday was also a very good and strong hint at what maybe could be a win for you to take here tonight. Obviously, there's still maybe a 16-point difference. How do you plan these, especially the next race, to go? Do you think Vegas is going to be more of a stone maybe in your way, or is it just another track that could maybe get you back into this championship fight?
I think Vegas is not a good track for me. It's not one of my favorites. It's actually my least favorite track, I think, on the calendar. I've just never really done well there, especially on this game, where it's just very, very harsh on the braking side of things for me. Sometimes I feel like even if I'm braking correctly into a corner, I still either lock up and lose the rear, or not brake enough and then crash into a wall. So to be honest, it will be a battle of attrition for me in the next race, and hopefully I'll just be able to finish in a good position, hopefully on the podium.
All right. Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to another great race at the front with you, and looking forward to what you can produce in Vegas. Congrats again on the P1 tonight, and see you in 7 days' time.
Thank you, sir.
On to second position for now, and that is Truckster, who took a very good qualifying to the same finishing position. But Truckster, first thing I have to ask you, what do you make of that very questionable 3-second time penalty behind Fellerson's incident into the Variante Alta? Do you think you can appeal this penalty? Truckster, you have to unmute.
Sorry, it
There-
automatically mutes for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had to take avoiding action when Fellison spun, really, and nothing I can do about it. One of them things. But yeah, I didn't get another warning the rest of the race, so I probably wouldn't have had the penalty had he not spun, but I don't know. It won't make a difference to the result, to be fair, because Pleasant had a penalty as well, didn't he? And
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
true.
fine.
Just wanted to catch your insight on that. Yeah, you've
Yeah.
proposed a very strong race today. I was wondering what kind of strategy was obviously for you at the end of the race. We had see you like try to edge away from Snake behind with that train of you and Quincy just trying to repass. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're trying to be in a good position for that final overtaking opportunity into turn 2 on the final lap, start of the final lap. So were you comfortable with that position to be like the hunted, because Quincy obviously made that decision to repass the lap earlier, or were you just maybe caught a bit off guard? And obviously then some insight on you on that great side-by-side racing into both of the chicanes there at on the final lap of Snake as well, please.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I was just content with where I was as long as Snake were behind me. I just thought I've got to beat Snake. I've got a penalty anyway, so if Quincy's going to win, I'll just try and keep Snake behind me. And like you said, we were working with Quincy, and then Snake caught up. We had a little bit of, and I thought, oh, it's last lap. He's not coming past. So yeah, it was fun. Enjoyed it.
Very good
But
defensive
Snake,
style.
and he enjoyed it also. Said it were all good. Do a little bit of wheel tapping, but nothing harmful. So yeah, very good.
We will find out soon. Yeah, obviously great racing from you. There's been some ups and downs inside of the season, both in reserve role for D1 as well for this one. What do you think are your chances for another strong showing in Vegas as well? How do you rate the track from your personal enjoyment in terms of driving as well?
I don't mind it. It's not one of the favourites, is it? I don't think anyone's going to say it's one of the favourites. But
I do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're a different breed, Herman, aren't you? But yeah, it's okay. I can get round there. Uses a lot of ERS for me, really, to keep up. But we'll practice on managing it during week and see where we go.
All right,
But yeah,
looking
I
forward
feel
to
to be
another.
driving okay at the moment, so I hope it
Yeah.
continues. Yeah.
All right, looking forward to what you can produce in Vegas in 7 days' time. Congrats again on your P2 today. And
Thank you.
hats off to you and see you next time.
See you next time.
And third position for the second time inside of the season goes to Pleasant Snake. Very uncharacteristic first lap. Just want to get your insight on that. How do you drop from first to sixth inside of 2.5 laps? What was going on there with you today, my friend?
I just had a really great lap. It was I'm not sure. I just didn't have the best start going off the line. I didn't really hit the rev limit or the rev how I wanted it, and then I was looking down, and then the start it was a bit stressful start, and then Dragster got past me, and then it was Quincy as well. I can't remember. I was like, like every time I ended up in a position where I was fighting for a position, I always got a bad exit from that, and then I was under attack for next corner. So yeah, it wasn't the best first lap I've had, I must say, but made the race quite fun after it. I had to get on with it after that.
Yeah, you can say that. Obviously, sixth position, making some passes on the early laps. Then there was obviously you being in that group again as well at the front. But then pit stops also played out, and you were like a bit off from that, and you had really to work your way through. Obviously, probably eating some of your tires up as well. And then there was like, yeah, just a couple of laps left to get maybe by on two of these guys. Obviously, time penalty didn't help your cause as well. So, is this in terms of pace wise unsatisfying? You think you could have been doing more, or is just yeah, I think overall your paces maybe was only good for third today, and yeah, judging by how the start went, maybe a bit of damage limitation here as well.
I think yeah, it wasn't my best pace I showed today. I think I was not really been able to focus on playing for the last or this weekend, and not today. Been doing other stuff. So since I'm renovating my apartment, had stuff I had to do. And then Maya, I really struggled with like having or focus. I did a few mistakes, and like every mistake was me like just thinking about something else. And so yeah, it wasn't the best race I had this season, but it was at least fun. I enjoyed it, even if it wasn't top of the podium.
Yeah, still a 17-second lead over the next guy. So the top three have been absolutely on it for tonight. And obviously, judging by how your season's been going, your worst finish being P4 is still a big exclamation mark on your season so far. Next time we're going to be going to Vegas. It's going to be full wet tires again for the quali, and then obviously dynamic race again. What do you think your chances are going to be? Do you think that's going to be a track that can bring you back to form?
It's
Just
not
to
gonna be full
intervene,
wet. Yeah,
the
it's
desert
dry time.
tracks are
Yeah,
all dry quali. Just
so
That's a
it's
desert
dry.
trick to you.
Vegas, yeah, it's in the desert. Las Vegas
Yeah,
is in the desert.
yeah, where it
Okay.
rained whole FP1 last year.
Yeah.
No, but we're gonna have a
Yeah.
dry. Yeah, yeah, but
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
so it's dry
My bad.
quali next week. It's been a while since I've done dry qualis. So, but yeah, I actually enjoy Vegas on this year's game. Last year's game, but it was horrible. Never I put it as little as possible. But this year's game is, it's the track is better this year, I think. But still, is it T4? Yeah. If that's my Achilles heel. That's going into T4. I locked up there too many times and fucked up. So we will see next week.
Okay, we will see next week to see what happens with you and obviously Quincy going forward. We obviously have plenty of races still to go. Nothing is set in stone. And yeah, congrats again on your P3. Bit of a tougher job for you today, but still good finish. And see you in 7 days' time for Vegas.
Boom. Thank you.
And I'm gonna move to our beloved main host, and obviously asking the final thoughts for you, Dave. Here was a very interesting, chaotic, and uncharacteristic race, I would say as well. And I think Reyes might be on that card as well. Brazil back to back with Imola, great races for this Division 2 inside of this season. What do you reckon was the biggest takeaway from tonight's race as well from your side?
I think the most obvious biggest takeaway, Pleasant Snake struggled tonight, so there is a weakness in that armor, and we certainly saw that tonight. Pleasant Snake gets a 9-point swing in the championship for the drivers, so it goes from 25 points to 16 points, and not only that, Ferrari also scoring big thanks to Bavish finishing in 5th place, which obviously means a 12-point, it was a 38 points scored by Ferrari, and of course the additional point for fastest lap, 39 points in the constructors for Ferrari. So you have to say now, ball is in the court of Ferrari for the constructors, but it's still kind of between the net, between Quincy and Pleasant Snake. But that is a huge, huge chapter turned, and we now have 5 races left. So obviously next week we'll be off to Las Vegas. Week track for Quincy, according to him, and then a week after that we'll be off to Qatar with the final 3 rounds of SSRL Division 2 and Division 1 equally coming to Abu Dhabi, Miami, and then of course that final Mystery Grand Prix. Where could that be? Well, you will just have to wait and find out, won't you? For the time being, though, I think that is all from all of us here. So Herman, any final words before I go?
I would say Vegas gonna be fun again, and obviously another great track to be seeing lots of great racing, as probably one of the better races to do so in this era as well in the real life Grand Prix. So looking forward to it, and obviously some dry quali coming up as well for the first time. So that is going to be super interesting as well. Might be that the guys forgot how to drive on a dry line in quali as well. Let's see, and see what the guys can do in 7 days' time. Take care, and see you next time.
See you
Good night.
next week. Good night.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. And with that, we wrap up for another week in SSRL. Obviously, as you saw, we will be back next week in Las Vegas, where the real-life Formula 1 circus is going to be visiting. And then, of course, 4 races after that. But a big swing, a big chapter here in Quincy's quest to hold on to the Division 2 championship. We will see how that goes. 9 points goes his way, so obviously, like I said, 16 points between Snake and Quincy going into next week. But otherwise, from myself and everybody at SSRL, we wish you all the very best. And if you are watching on YouTube as well, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for when these VODs are uploaded, usually after the race on Tuesday nights. You'll get both Division 1 and Division 2 ASAP. But otherwise, I'm going to go off and do that right now for you. And, well, from all of us here at SSRL, we wish you only the very best. So from wherever you may be in the world, we do wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive, look after your mental health, and, well, join us for Division 1 at 7:30 p.m. GMT, same time on Tuesdays for Division 2 as well. Until then, bye for now.